Hey everyone, it is Wednesday, November 29th, 2017, and it's time to go to work on music. It's been a great day, I'm in a really good place, and excited for a productive session as usual. Gonna hit some online classes here in a sec, update you guys with what I'm doing, going to hit a light drum practice, share my progress, going to dive into the production front, and the main goals today, I just want to listen back to the drum takes I did yesterday. I'll see how I'm feeling as far as moving forward with the next section of the tune. I may try to get a final take of something today, and I may just kind of keep things a little lighter and maybe just work on refining the parts for the next couple sections because I haven't spent a ton of time developing those. So that would be a good project for today. On the vocal front, there doesn't seem to be a great deal more to do on this particular track, so I may take that time and just start writing the next tune. I've never really worked on songwriting and production in parallel like that before. I usually just do one thing and then move on to the next thing, like finish this track, move on to the next track completely. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, whether it's going to be confusing, whether it's going to disrupt my creative process on this current song or not. But 90% of the ideas for this current song are already there, so I think I probably can just move on to the next tune and start writing that, brainstorming. That'll be fun. And then I'm going to hit the guitar front hard today and try to get a finished take, if I didn't yesterday, of this solo section, and then write and maybe get some scratch takes for the final solo section. So, it's going to be an epic day. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's get right into it. Alright, solid first half of the day. Definitely a pretty big departure from what I've been starting the day with the last week or so. But I jumped into the online class front, moved forward a little bit with the Busy Musician Bootcamp. Not a ton actually, because I got distracted by an article on MyFitnessPal about visualization and using that to achieve your goals. And so I wanted to just kind of play around with that a little bit and make sure that my goals are in the right place. And it's looking good. Um, and from there, I moved to a super light drum practice. I kept that really easy, again, just focusing on my feet, working through the stick control book, and giving my hands a rest because I was quite fatigued, especially when I woke up this morning, and even still now, I'm feel a lot better now, but like a few hours ago, I was feeling like, man, I don't really want to touch the drums that much today. I hit it real hard yesterday trying to get that take for the verse intro. So from there, I just took a short break and then jumped into the production front and listened back to all the takes from yesterday. And there are two takes that are very good. I'm pretty sure that they're good enough, at least one of them. I really don't want to edit these drum parts if it can be avoided. Drum editing is sort of a fact of life in a lot of modern music, and I don't know, man. I talked about this before with vocal comping and guitar solo comping. The music I make is already so synthetic, being just one person multi-tracking everything, that to then like take it even further, I mean, then I just feel like I'm getting so deep into the electronic domain. But maybe that's cool. Maybe I'll experiment with that as I go forward. But for this track, I really want the groove and the vibe to be organic and human, and just still tight, still tight. And I think editing it is gonna mess with that. I don't know. I've spent so many years playing drums and working on grooves and feel that I don't know. I think I ought to be able to knock it out. Now, in fairness, the way I edited the horns with the bass was weird. It's not exact, and there's definitely a lot of variance in terms of the tightness of those sections, and so the drums they were supposed to glue that together, and that was a huge challenge, man. So that's part of the uphill battle I was fighting with that particular section, and I'm hopeful that the other sections are going to be a little easier to deal with. We'll see. Um, But there were those two takes did stand out. I listened to them just on the laptop itself, one pair of headphones, different pair of headphones, just trying to get a good view. And I think I know which one is the best one, but I'll give that another day or two and come back and listen to those. After that, like I said, I didn't feel like tracking drums was really the move. So what I did is I listened back to the vocals that I did yesterday. All of those sounded fantastic. Honestly, more than good enough. So I'm probably just gonna roll with those, which is great. And the harmony vocals and the choruses are sounding really, really awesome. And I'm excited to do some edits on those and fill out the mix and make it a little more three-dimensional. But even for now, just everything sitting on top of itself, it sounds great. And it's cool, I've not really done that type of thing before with my own voice, so I'm enjoying it. Um, from there wasn't a whole lot more vocal work to do as far as tracking goes on that song, so I decided to, like I was talking about at the beginning of the video, move forward and maybe pick a new song to work on. So I listened back to all my existing demos, which are just me like singing ideas into my phone basically. And there's one that's definitely cool. I think I'll probably depart a little bit from the demo, but I'll take some inspiration from it. But it's got some really cool ideas, and I think that it vibes well, like structurally and in terms of how the song develops. It vibes very well with the track I'm currently working on. So I might end up doing, I don't know, two or three tracks like that this track's kind of long. It's not fast. It's more like a laid back tempo and a kind of a laid back groove. Um, and this new track kind of has that vibe also, and it's got kind of a heavy bass line feel to it. And that's cool. I think that's kind of the style that this record's going to go with. Um, and I kind of wanted like a more up-tempo number, maybe to open the record, but I don't know, the ideas I was throwing out, they just sounded cheesy. It sounded like some 70s disco funk or something, and that's just not where I'm trying to go with this. So, but yeah, so I did that, and then I was just listening to some Earth, Wind and Fire albums I like, and some Lettuce, and some Tower of Power, and just bands that incorporate a lot of horn use in their arrangements. And I was just kind of listening to how the drums and the bass and the horns and the rhythm section are interacting with the horn parts and stuff. And those arrangements are really amazing. There's a lot of instruments going on, and this track I'm working on with like the horn fills in between the verse sections and stuff is very Earth, Wind and Fire-esque. So I'm just seeing what they did and seeing what worked for them. Not what worked for them as far as like their hits go, but what worked for them in terms of what I like and what I like to listen to from their catalog, which like Jupiter from All in All and Serpentine Fire from All in All, those really funky numbers that were just like, damn, slap you in the face with the funk. And yeah, I'll keep rolling with that. I mean, I think the funkadelic sort of heavy metal, hard rock influence is still evident with this track, and I think this new song is kind of going to go more in that direction, which I'm excited about. And I think I'm going to do some ambient pieces that'll separate these sort of really heavy, intricate, progressive kind of like more traditional epic song structure type things, just to give the record a good pace and feel. But I've been thinking a lot about developing it kind of like a movie, and introducing the characters and having it play out like a scene, and having the sort of ebbs and flows of the story, and like the car chase moments and the fast-paced moments and then the relationship development moments and stuff. So I'm going to think a little bit more about that as I sort of segue into this next tune. But I also took a look at the tracking list for this current song, and there's still plenty to do here in terms of effects, routing, and moving bits around in the mix, and then guitar tracking, which is going to be the focus of tonight's session, and then drum tracking as well. So there's still plenty to do on this track, and I'm going to try to stay focused and knock out as much as that as I can. But I think it was fun to just kind of take a peek forward and think about what some of the next moves might look like. So I'm going to take a break here, have some food, and be back in a few. All right. Very good session overall today. Definitely was feeling some resistance certain parts of the session, and just did my best to stay focused and stay on track, and just make sure I'm moving myself toward my goals and prioritizing appropriately. Blah, blah, blah. So, in the second half of the session, I jumped into the production front and listened back to all the guitar fills that I did yesterday, some of which were actually pretty good, but I just felt like I could do better. So what I did is I actually got back in and started playing around with like the timing and the metronome and things like that. And then I was like, you know what? I got a really good take last night by just like forgetting about all that stuff and just playing the part. I don't know how else to say it, but just like in my head being like, I want it to sound like this, and then just boom. And so I did a couple takes like that, and I got one that's really, really good. I'm not sure if I'll keep it or not. I mean, I feel like I'm splitting hairs big time at this point, especially with this part. It's like not that big of a part in the song, but it is a featured part, and you know, you can grip people or lose people in those little transition sections. So it's let's just be honest. It's hard to create excellent results 1,000% of the time. That is just hard to do, and that's okay. It's okay that that's hard. That's why a lot of people don't do it. But that's what I'm committed to, and I'll keep working on it if it needs it. But if it's done, then I got to be honest with myself that it's done, and I'm not going to worry about that till tomorrow. So I did that, and then I started working on some of the later section guitar fills and fleshed out this idea that I was working on. Actually, I hadn't even worked on it yet. I just fleshed out this idea that I just demoed out and got the fingering down and kind of the part down, and then just was like, I think I'm ready to just start tracking this. So I just plugged the guitar back in, did a couple takes of that, got a couple that were pretty solid, and again, I'll listen back tomorrow and just go from there. But what's been giving me good results recently is just like develop the idea until it's playable, like technically accurate, then just track it for a while, kind of get in the groove, and then get some critical distance on it, figure out if I want to change anything, and then do the final takes like the next day or a day after. So that's kind of the thing I'm going for now. It kind of kept my momentum in the session, which was good, and then I had a little bit of time at the end, so I just hit my songwriting class for the first time in a while. I was working on blues chord progressions, power progressions, and I was just feeling LaGrange by ZZ Top. So ZZ Top was like a big part of my youth listening excursions. I had, I think, Eliminator and Afterburner on cassette tape, and I had this little Walkman, and I rocked those records front to back just constantly on road trips, man. There was one road trip where I probably listened to Afterburner or Eliminator or both like probably like 30 times straight. So that stuff is just absolutely etched in my mind. And yeah, so I just busted out LaGrange and was kind of playing around with that, which is a 1 flat 3 4 blues power progression, relatively simple. I mean, the way that Billy Gibbons plays it is kind of not just like a straight ahead, the easiest. It's not necessarily the easiest way to play it in my opinion, but it's cool, and I started kind of playing around with that and trying to figure out what he's doing using my ear, which is fun and a good challenge. And then I noticed there's this really killer key change in the song where they go up a minor third to C, and for the solo section, and it just really gives the song that lift of energy and really gives you that feeling of coming back home at the end, which is awesome. So yeah, and it is a pivot chord. I realized C7, however you want to think about the blues, is in both keys, so that's like a really, really good pivot. So yeah, that is pretty much today's session. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. I feel like I could have been a little more focused today, and I'll take that into tomorrow. And I think the key for that is just having clear goals for the session and just sticking to those goals as closely as possible. I mostly did that today. I just felt today was a little soft. So I don't know, maybe some days are just going to be better than others. Some days are going to be a little less feeling like I'm killing it. But it was good to have a lighter day, honestly, because I think my body could just use that recovery time. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. Looking forward to it. Till then.